morning, dear people of the internet, and welcome to Barbie DreamFest. Excuse me, I think I'm mixing up my information here. I think I was supposed to say Barbie Nightmare Fest, because according to my sources, this was the biggest entertainment fail of the year, and that says a lot because we are not even halfway through yet. A lot can happen in a half a year, but apparently this is gonna be the worst that's gonna get, and I think we should hope so. You would say that the entertainment industry could have learned from last year's Willy Wonka fiasco, which looked something like this if you missed that, and it was supposedly very, very bad. That went incredibly viral, so you would think that entertainment companies would pay some attention and not want that to happen again, you know? But apparently I'm wrong about that, and we need to find out how this could go so bad again with the Barbie-themed convention that went on last week. Before we get into that though, I have a very short public service announcement. I have this very delusional plan of this YouTube channel helping me get through college and after that, which would be incredible if it worked out. And it can work out, I am sure about that, even though it's delusional, I know that. But you can help me with that for free by subscribing and watching my videos if you like them, so I would appreciate that a lot. So thank you for that. Now let's get started. Often people get disappointed because they just set their expectations too high. And I'm not going to blame this on the guests, but we need to see how this was advertised so we know what people could expect from this event.
Are you obsessed with Barbie? Me too. So come closer and let me tell you a secret, because this is not a drill. If you didn't know, Barbie DreamFest is a full-on Barbie fan weekend. And it's happening this March in Fort Lauderdale, and yes, tickets are already on sale. So what's at Barbie DreamFest? We're talking live panels, interactive experiences, amazing themed programming, cute photo ops, and of course, really cool guests, including Angel Reese, Ibtihaj Muhammad, Emily Calandrelli, Robin Gerber, and Dr. Swati Mohan. And they've already given us a sneak peek of the programming. A life-size interactive Barbie dream house, a full glam bar where you can get your hair, nails, and makeup done. An 80s roller rink, a Beyond the Stars exhibit with astronaut Barbie, Barbie-themed yoga sessions, and that's just what we know so far. Barbie DreamFest is a love letter to Barbie fans with Barbie nostalgia, empowerment, fashion, and creativity all in one place. Whether you grew up with Barbie like me or you're in your Barbie era, also me, this weekend is totally your vibe. So grab your besties because this is the ultimate Barbie-inspired girls trip. And don't worry, you're coming with me.
This was honestly the best ad for this event that I could find, and it's not even made by the organizers, it's made by an influencer that they paid to make it, and the rest of the ads on the Instagram page are often just like stock images and AI images mixed together and being like, have you ever dreamed of being in the Barbie world? Come to this thing. So that was not saying a lot, and I wanted to show you something with a little more information. I also heard after writing this that Mattel themselves put a lot on their website and on their social media pages to promote this event, which is how they got so many people to go to this event in the first place. But we'll get to the Mattel situation and organizations and rules for this a little bit later on. First, what was supposed to happen, and maybe I am biased because I already know what happened, but this ad or this Instagram video that we just saw did not really get my hopes up for this. It was posted a month before the event and they were being incredibly vague about the planning. Now, I don't know a whole lot about event planning, so I tried to compare it to the next Comic-Con in the Netherlands, which was easy because I know these Comic-Cons are good. Like, I've gone to them, so I know they are good. So I was going to their website because the next one is on May 10th, and at the moment of writing this, their concrete planning is not on their website either, which it's a little bit more than a month away, so that feels fair. It's kind of normal to not have the concrete planning for the guests available a little bit more than a month ahead, so I guess we can give them a pass on this, but it's still kind of disturbing how vague they are being to me. But it might be normal. From this ad and every other thing that I saw on the Instagram page, it's not clear what is going to be happening. Part of this vagueness is that they have no images of what is going to be going on Barbie DreamFest. Now, that is kind of understandable because this is the first Barbie DreamFest, but it would already help if you have some pictures on the Instagram page from what the vendors are going to be selling or how the roller rink is supposed to look like. That's, I wouldn't say easy, but it's pretty doable to put that together at the very least. However, even though it was so vague, they did promise a certain amount of things, so you could expect as a guest that you are going to get these things. And it's not like it's the first rodeo of the organizers, Mischief Management, either. They've been planning these kinds of events for over 15 years, so I think it would be fair if you want to go to this event and saw some of these ads that you would think something along the lines like, oh fun, I am going to go there. Looks great, because these people have organized nice events before, so it's probably going to be fine at the very least. Now we kind of know what people were about to expect from this, we need to know how it actually went.
Come with me to spend the day at the Barbie Festival in Fort Lauderdale. You could pretend you were Barbie in a little pop-up, or you could take a photo shoot at the Michaels exhibit and add some gems to your frames like I did. It was very cute and fun. Then there was a little spa where you could add a braid to your hair if you wanted to, and those vintage Barbie dolls, anywhere from $50 to $3,000. And then this watercolor artist would paint you as a Barbie. And you could also make a keychain with a photo of yourself. I did some roller skating with those Barbie roller skates, and it was so much fun. I haven't done it since I was 8, so I need more practice.
That doesn't look too bad. She mentioned 7 activities, most of which are done at children's parties, but okay. And you didn't even see a lot of the concrete floor until the very last shot. The comments of this video were full of people asking if this person got paid to make this video, and she did not confirm or deny this, but she did say in a comment that she found the tickets kind of expensive for what it actually was. In the case that you're thinking now, well, that doesn't look too bad, it looks kind of okay. This thing made Dutch national news, okay? We are on the other side of the world. Mostly people talk about themselves here and like geopolitical situations, and in show news we talk mostly about Dutch people, if you can believe it. Not about this kind of stuff, but the fact that it made Dutch national news means that it's a thing. Here's a more opinionated review of the event for you.
I'm not one to complain, and usually I just suck it up, but at this Barbie DreamFest, it said it opened at 9. We weren't let in till 9:45, and vendors were still arriving and setting up shop. Once we finally got in, it was very underwhelming. The space was huge, and there was just so much emptiness. Y'all, what? But let's do it for the kids. This was their 80s roller skating rink, which was tiny and had no lights. There was no way any adults would have been able to skate in there. This was their Barbie dream house, a cardboard standing box with a VW wagon. It would have been nice, but the doors were closed, so you couldn't even go inside of it. As you can see, everything else was just spread out, open, very empty, very scarce, and it was just fee after fee. Y'all, we came to this because it was so hyped online. It was, you know, a bunch of vendors. They made it seem like there was so much to do. This is a huge space, okay, at the Broward Convention Center. It is empty. Empty, okay? Even some of the things, like, you have to pay for everything extra. So we paid for $70 a ticket to get in, $20 to pay for parking, and then on top of that, you're paying for a picture. You're paying for every little thing at every little vendor. Come on now, like, this is what you get for free. This. To clarify, you are able to roller skate for free. You are able to ride the bikes for free. You can go to the Michaels vendor and you are able to take a picture, they print it for you, and you can decorate your own frame for free. Michaels saved the day for this event because it was not worth what we paid for, and I recommend you do not go.
I feel like this was a slightly more honest review than the previous video. For $70, you would expect there would be enough things to see in this event to fill your entire day. I think you can ask that for that price. I'm also kind of confused of for what age group this event was supposed to be, because from the Instagram page from Barbie DreamFest, it seemed like it was going to be an event that was for all ages. At the same time, the roller rink was not big enough to have multiple adults in them, and even though the bikes were not shown in this video, I have seen them and they were definitely child bikes, so those things were clearly targeted at children. Maybe not the roller rink, but it kind of was, you know, adults wouldn't fit on there. On the other hand, they had a stand selling really expensive Barbies, which is not for children. You can say that they had things for all age ranges, but it kind of does not work like that. If you have an event for all age ranges, I would say that most activities would have to be fun for most age ranges. And that was definitely not the case. One of the more prominent things they promised was a Barbie dream house that you could go inside of. Instead, they had this cardboard cutout thing that did not even look like the Barbie dream house. And I feel like the entire point of every Barbie house is that you can look inside. Even in the movie, the house did not really have outside walls. You can always look inside of the house. house. That's kind of the point of a Barbie house. And in the event, they did not really have that. You couldn't go inside. Besides that, the Barbie dream house design is a pretty established thing, and the cardboard cutout house thing did not even look like the Barbie dream house. I think we can conclude that this event was not a success and that they did not deliver what they promised. We do know what the person from the previous video we watched paid, but I do want to tell you about the other tickets and prices that were available. You had a day pass, which is what the people from the previous video bought, probably, where the kids pay $30 and adults pay $69 or $70. You get access to programming for 1 day, access to purchase autographs and photos, and access to the marketplace for 1 day. Then you have a general pass, in which children pay $75 and adults pay $149, which gives you access to programming for all 3 days, access to the marketplace for all 3 days, and access to purchase autographs and photos. Then you have the pink pass, which is $249, which includes all the general pass perks, plus access to programming for all the days, priority queue for main stage events, access to evening events for all 3 days. So if you had the general pass or if you had the day pass, you couldn't even stay in the evenings. And I assume they organized things in the evenings or tried to do that or whatever. Because why else would you have that? So that's wild. You got first access queue for marketplace. I would say that there wasn't even a queue for the marketplace because of the open floor plan going on, but I could be wrong, I wasn't there. From the videos, it seemed that there were not a lot of people there, but from the videos that I saw, people said that there were a lot of people there, so I'm kind of confused about that. That also doesn't really matter. Anyways, they got an exclusive badge and lanyard, access to purchase autographs and photos, and access to the Barbie DreamFest 2027 pre-sale, so there is gonna be a sequel, maybe. I'm not sure if they are going to do this after this fiasco. There was also a Dream Pass, which was $449, includes all general pass perks plus all the things from the previous one. You got a $50 coupon for autographs and photos. I'm not sure because I was looking at the Comic-Con page as I told you, and an autograph and meet and greet thing costs 150 euros over there. So I'm not sure how those prices compare at all. I really don't know, but this $50 coupon does not seem like a lot for that. I hope that you can get at least one autograph for that price. You got 2 shortcut queues for autographs and photos, access to our dedicated hotel block. I assume that that does not include the hotel stay. I heard that this is more of an American thing, that you can be sure that you have a hotel room during these kinds of events in a specific block that is reserved for the guests there, but then you still have to pay for the hotel price because also it's expensive, but a 3-day hotel stay is also pretty expensive. So I would assume that you have to purchase that separately, but I find that kind of outrageous too because this is really expensive for what you got. You got a special swag bag, exclusive badge and lanyard, and also access to the 2027 pre-sale. I don't think those prices were worth it, but we already are past that, I believe. I think $20 would have maybe been close to a little bit more fair, if even, but for that price you could only park your car. Anyhow, luckily most people agree with this sentiment. I say most people, because not all people do.
Y'all, I'm coming in hot with an unpopular opinion about a Barbie DreamFest fiasco situation. First of all, the event itself was a little bit of a dumpster fire. As we all know, I don't know whose fault it was. Also, I don't care, it's none of my business. However, can I tell you how many amazing people I met there? I met a woman who came by herself who makes Barbie furniture out of cardboard. And she said it's really stupid, it's not nothing. You think a little girl playing with her Barbies is gonna care that her furniture's made out of cardboard? You might inspire her to be a Barbie furniture designer herself one day. You never know how you showing up can impact or influence or inspire someone else. The vendors that were there, although very few, were kind, hardworking women. Just trying to connect with other women at this event. There were a ton of little girls there that were dressed up, and they didn't give a crap. They were having the time of their lives. And I get it. They don't quite understand yet for the cost of the ticket and the quality of the event. You didn't quite get what you paid for. Well, by the time I got home from Fort Lauderdale yesterday, they had emailed me saying, hey, we're giving you a refund. Don't worry about it. Which I think is the right thing to do because it wasn't as it was advertised. Period. It just was. We get it. You know what I'm really pissed about? I get an email this morning from Inside Edition. The TV show said, we would like to interview you and talk about your disappointment in the event. I was disappointed in the event, but I never said that. I took to my social media and said, you know what? I'm gonna look at this with gratitude, and here's why. I've been the ugly fat girl my entire life. I've been a private investigator sitting in a car, isolated on surveillance, hiding behind black, dark tinted windows because I felt so ugly I didn't want to be seen. I hid myself. And a big reason for that is because my college professor said, you'll never make it as a private investigator because you're a girl and that's a man's industry. But you know who does all the man's jobs now? And who has since the beginning of time? Barbie. Barbie. Barbie has been an inspiration to girls forever. We all know that. That's why we all wanted to go to DreamFest, but right? One of my cool inspirational takeaways was I got to chat with the people, the individuals who design the Barbie. From their minds, they can share what that Barbie is going to represent and how she's going to relate to women and girls. Like, what a rad opportunity. Also, I got to sit in on a roundtable discussion with Girls Inc., which is like a program for girls to support young women and teach them like real life social skills and boundaries. I have a podcast that talks about domestic violence and how easy it is for us to become a victim of someone manipulating us or abusing us mentally, emotionally, even physically. And this is a program that helps women and girls find their own worth and their own value at an early age, which we never did. But that's another resource that I can share. I'm not going to lie and say it was a perfect experience. They definitely screwed the pooch, and they know it. Haven't you ever been in a situation where you really something up so bad, and then you take accountability for it, you do the right thing, acknowledge that it was a jacked up situation, and then everybody around you is beating you over the head with it? You get crucified. It's like, get me off the cross, honey. We need the wood. Haven't you ever been in a situation where you just needed some grace? Someone dropped the ball, 100%. But it really threw me over the edge when Inside Edition said, hey, we want to hear more about your negative experience. They just want to hear from the people that had a negative experience so they can sensationalize it, so they can keep you pissed off. And guess what? You ain't got to. We not gonna church it up, okay? It was bad. We get it. But first of all, don't come to me presuming you know how I feel about it. When you have the opportunity to be the light, choose not to, and that's the problem in our world. And just have some damn gratitude. So the event sucked. They acknowledged it. They gave refunds. I just want to know how long y'all gonna complain about it so we can go on about our lives and talk about more important stuff. And my last question is, what are you doing to inspire other people? Because you're complaining, ain't it? All right, I'm gonna get off my horse now. I'm gonna get off my soapbox now. It's time to go mind somebody else's business. All right.
I just think that some things are getting mixed up in this video. I do believe that everyone deserves grace and second chances, and I also believe that making the best of a bad situation is very great and it is very helpful. However, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't speak up about a bad situation. Sure, I agree that the timing of this interview thing was maybe not that great, and I think a lot of people would also have said no after the refund, and I think most people would agree with that, which makes this not an unpopular opinion. The elephant in the room here is the refund. We are getting back to the other stuff later on, but I first want to read you an email that Mattel sends to every participant after the event. It says, "Thank you again for being part of Barbie DreamFest this weekend. Following our previous update, we want to share that if you purchased a 3-day ticket, you will now receive a full refund of your ticket purchase, including applicable fees. This update reflects our commitment to ensuring a positive experience for all of our community. No action is required on your part. Refunds will be issued to your original form of payment and are expected to appear within 3 to 4 calendar weeks." To be clear, they did refund everyone's ticket, not only the 3-day tickets. The interesting thing about this is that this email came from Mattel, the company behind Barbie. However, the event was organized by Mischief Management and did not send out this refund email. Mattel did have to sell their license and give them their blessing, and also, as I said earlier, probably carried a lot of the advertisements for this event, so they have some responsibility for sure, that's true. But Mattel is still a corporation. They are not just refunding it because they felt bad. Maybe they did. I would be happy to know that if they did that, they would refund people. That would be great. But it's also a form of damage control. They are trying to protect their brand because they cannot have this going on. And that kind of makes a lot of sense. So I think it's fair to point out whose fault this is. Now, I cannot exactly know this because I live on the other side of the world and I don't know these people. But Mischief Management organized this thing and they have had some organizing experience. They did a lot of Harry Potter conventions, which they stopped doing in 2024 due to obvious reasons and kind of too late if you ask me, but that's not the conversation here. They did some other fan conventions, so they had experience with fan event organizations, and they were not the ones taking the responsibility here. I'm sure they have reasons for that. I'm sure they talked with Mattel about it, maybe, I don't know, but Mattel took the responsibility and they did not, and they are also just kind of responsible, probably, in this situation. As for the thing that the children that were there having fun and everyone deserving the positive influence that Barbie had on so many girls' lives, those are two entirely different things. They have nothing to do with each other. From my very small experiences with children, I do know two things. Children know very well what's going on. They have a sixth sense for vibes and they know very well if something is going bad. And the second thing is that children can entertain themselves with very little resources. And the thing is that a lot of the resources at Barbie DreamFest were made for children. So if anyone could have entertained themselves there, it probably would have been the children. Which did not mean that they did not pick up on the vibe, which also did not mean that they could not have fun anyway. And for the inspirational part of this argument, I don't think Barbie DreamFest was the most inspirational event that children could ever go to. You can make the argument for the vendors that were probably really cool and probably had a lot to talk about, but also I would say that any other Barbie movie that ever came out, which is a lot, got the spirit a lot better. And of course the vendors were nice. If you're nice when you're at an event and selling your stuff, you have a higher chance of selling your stuff than when you're being mean and grumpy about everything. That's just how it works. When you're grumpy at an event, people think you're entitled and they will not buy your stuff because they think that you're too good for them and for the entire thing. So of course the vendors are going to be nice to you. And also they're probably very passionate about what they do. That the event kind of sucks does not mean that the passion has gone away. Those two things can exist at the same moment. I'm sure, by the way, that the vendors were also trying to make the best out of a bad situation, because I'm pretty sure that the vendors were not having a great time either. I have this video as proof for that.
Back for part 2 of what it was like to be a vendor at the Barbie DreamFest. I know a big question for everyone is if the vendors had any idea of what the event was going to be like, what we paid for our booths, and if we're going to get a refund. Leading up to the event, we had multiple Zoom meetings with the company who put this on, called Mischief Management. From those meetings, it felt like this was going to be a massive event and everything felt very exciting. But things got interesting on Wednesday night when we finally got an email telling us the instructions for how we were going to set up our booth the next morning. And we got this email at like 9 p.m. telling us that they were behind schedule and come as late as you can to set up your booth. And here's the map that's finally showing you what the event setup is going to look like. At that point, I was getting a little nervous because the map was so much tinier than I expected, but I had hope that as long as they decked it out in Barbie decor and activities, that it wouldn't matter how big the event was, it would still be incredible. But then there was the moment on Thursday when I walk into the space for the first time and I said to the security guard, like, is this the right room? Am I in the right place? And mind you, I got there very, very late. This was like, I think 4 p.m. the day before the event. And it was also disheartening that there was no one from Mischief Management there to welcome the vendors, tell us where to set up, show us where our tables and chairs were that were supposed to be provided for us. Also, certain booths were told that they would have these big backdrop banners with their branding on them, but none of this was provided to us, and I never even got my badge to get into the event the next day. I actually was supposed to get 4 badges for myself and my employees, but I'm usually a positive person, so I did have a little bit of hope still that they were just going to work through the night, and make this look as great as possible. I had already paid thousands of dollars for this booth, and I'm pretty sure some of the other vendors paid in the tens of thousands for their booths. So at this point, we were in it to win it. We just had to show up and hope for the best for the next 3 days. The next morning was the first day of the event, and let's just say the space didn't look too different, unfortunately. So when I saw people walking to the event, all glammed up in Barbie, super excited, and then just looking deflated on their face, I knew exactly how they felt. It was especially rough the first day because the doors didn't open until, I want to say, 10:30. We were actually never really told what time the event started, which was definitely a red flag. So the vendors got there at 8 a.m., we were all setting up, and then we just kind of sat around for a while, and people were lined up out the door to get into the event. It just broke my heart watching people rushing through the doors at 10:30. They've been waiting for over an hour to get in, and then they just looked so defeated. I have heard that people are able to get a refund on their tickets, although I'm not sure if that's an empty promise or not, but hopefully they follow through on that. In terms of the vendors, we were told by the CEO of Mischief Management that she held up her end of the agreement because we all received our booth spaces for the 3 days, and she's not sure if she can give us all a refund. But I know that the people I spoke with at Mattel were also very disappointed in the event. They want to do whatever they can to help us get a refund for this. I do still have hope that my small business will not lose thousands of dollars on this. If you made it this far, thank you for listening.
I showed you the second part of this because there's a part 1, and in the part 1 the person explaining all of this explained how nice the other vendors were and how they were having a good time getting to know each other and talking with each other, and that's great. But I also wanted to tell you about the vendors' experience with the organization and not about with each other. So it's important to know that they were having a good time with each other, but not with the organization and not with what they expected. In a comment, this vendor had also mentioned that she didn't even make enough to cover the entire booth, and that is just very bad. Like, they paid thousands of dollars to be there. But let me put this into perspective a little bit, because sometimes I go to small art markets or comic markets to sell my own crochet work or my own zines and whatever, and I go to very small ones, so I mostly pay up to 50 euros for my booth. I've not made my thing back every time, and that is more okay than in this situation. But also, advertisement and how you do it and what kind of thing it is and what the vibe is at an event is really everything for it. Because if the vibe is kind of dead, or you're not really fitting in with the other vendors or whatever, that can make so much of a difference. And now, they paid thousands of dollars, and these were Barbie specific vendors. So if anyone was going to sell enough of their work there to cover the booth, it would have been these people, and they did not. That is very bad. That means that the ticket prices were too high, so that people could not buy more. At the same time, the vibe was not there, so people were not willing to buy it because the experience was already kind of sucky. That's just a very bad organizational job. Like, vending at a Comic-Con or whatever is often very expensive for the vendors, but most of the times it's worth it. If the event is good, it's often worth it. If you go to a Comic-Con in a smaller area, you would see that all the vendors are going to do all the Comic-Con kind of situations there. Like, they do all of them because it's worth it for them. And then comes this Barbie thing along, and you think, oh, organization that has done this before, so they know how to do it, and they know how to advertise, and it's advertised by Mattel themselves, so it should be good, but it wasn't. And then the space was not even, the vibe does so much, so this is bad. They were not having a great time. It's so disappointing to walk into this and see that they're not trying, and you have to sell your stuff, you have to be happy about it, because otherwise you're going to sell absolutely nothing, and you have to try to make the best of it, otherwise it's a complete, even bigger disaster. So they were not having a good time. For the vendors, this was very bad, but they were having a nice time with each other, and that is nice. I think it's great to see that everyone was kind of trying to make the best of it, which is all you can do, and that does not mean that you cannot complain about it. The person with the hot take video also said that she learned to stand up for herself because of Barbie, and if there's one thing that she does not want other people to do about this anymore, is complain or standing up for yourself. But if you don't do this, it's gonna happen again. Besides that, I and a lot of other people find this just a very interesting and fascinating situation, which makes it worth talking about. I'm just fascinated by how this could happen, and how did this go so wrong? Were these people so entitled that they couldn't make it work? Or were they so scared of saying that it's not gonna be what they envisioned and refunding everyone before that? Or what happened here? It's interesting that this kind of stuff just keeps happening. A while back we had Firefest, which was way bigger and also a way bigger disaster, but still. And last year, the Willy Wonka situation that I told you about in my intro went absolutely viral, and that was also a very bad situation. And it's not even a year later, or it's just a year later, and this is happening already. Like, something like this, it just keeps happening, and you think that people have some introspective skills after seeing that go on, and then they would think like, oh, my event's also bad, let's not do it, or let's make it better, or whatever. But yet it keeps happening somehow, which is very bad for your organization also. We also don't know what went wrong, as I said, which I think is kind of a problem, because if they would tell us what went wrong, what's the problem, people might be more empathetic about it. The only thing that people got was Mattel damage control money. Admitting you're wrong, or admitting that you made a mistake, is very admirable, but that simply did not happen yet. Maybe Mattel did a mistake by trusting these people to pull this off, but I don't know. You would trust an organization that has organized things before, even though it didn't always go too well, but like, not a disaster like this. I'm curious to learn what you think about this, and if you ever went to an event that did not live up to your expectations, and how that went and why that was the case. So let me know. Thank you for watching. If you like my little video, please press the wonderful shiny like and subscribe buttons, and then I will see you next time. Ciao!